Timmy Joe reviews anything.
Reviewing computer parts on YouTube.
That's
Woo! Gotta be pumped on that, right, Will? Computer parts! Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Hi there, my name's Timmy Joe, making videos about computers on the internet for somebody, I don't know who. Oh my goodness, who cares about it anyways? RX 580. It's like a joke at this point. If you could buy it for MSRP, wonderful graphics card. If you could ever have bought it for MSRP, but it was at least up there. I know. So, why am I even talking about it? Well, when a buddy of yours goes, "Hey Timmy, I'm going to start a mining rig. I'm going to buy up a bunch of GPUs. What are you doing?" I said, "Hey, I'll look into that with you. New Lazy Susan." Ouch. Yeah, so New Lazy Susan. I said, "Hey, can I borrow one of those for a review slash, I want to see what all the brouhaha is about the mining and the stuff, and I'm pretty much going to quit it. I'm going to quit mining. I've already made my money from mining, and it was not from actually physically mining, because I made about, I don't even know how much. I made 10% of $230. $23 is what I made. That's on 3 CPUs and 5 GPUs, on and off over the period of a week. I made 0.1 Monero. I don't know. So what is Monero, and why'd you care? Well, it's there's a thing called mining. I'm actually doing it on this right here, right now. And that's why, you can't buy these things, because they're very good at it. So if I hit H here, hash rate of 735, that's not great for this card. It'll actually go closer to 1,000, but from what I can tell, you actually have to BIOS hack these things to get the max hash rate out of them. But really good at Ethereum mining, especially this is an 8 gig version, and really good at stuff like Monero. And what's cool with Monero is you can mine on a CPU and this, and get a hash rate of like maybe 1,200, all with some stocks with a little bit of overclock. What I did with this one is I maxed the memory speed out, and I just left the clock at 1,400. Apparently I'm at 1436. But I was just kind of playing around with it, seeing if I could get it to go any higher. 735 seems to be the hash rate on it. But yeah, that's all she wrote for mining. I'm done with it. Let's go ahead and we'll turn off this mining bullshit. Shut down. Yeah, I'm done with it. So, yeah, cryptocurrency ruined the RX 580. But when it floods the market eventually, hopefully maybe later in 2018, who knows, is it going to be worth your precious pennies to purchase one in 2018 with the latest and greatest games? Well, since, oh, wow, a lot less noise going on here. Since I've got one in my hands, I figured, hell, let's test it with all the latest and greatest games, and we'll see just what this little doohickey can do, because after all, it was supposed to be, well, the original RX 480 was supposed to be this like VR for $200 for the masses kind of dealy, and then it ended up that you couldn't buy one at MSRP, and yeah, really beautiful looking card. I don't think that it's warm to the touch. I don't think that it's is as big as like a 1080 version of the Twin Frozer. Like it's a kind of dual slot where they get a little bit bigger, but it's got all kinds of copper heat pipes on the top of it. It's got some red LEDs. It's a really nice feeling looking. It's like really smooth GPU, and I ran it through a gamut of gaming tests. But realistically, if you ever wanted to prop it up, there we go. If you ever wanted to buy one right now, virtually impossible. $729. And they were supposed to MSRP for $200 and some dollars. Let's say this is a really good version, maybe MSRP for like $259.99, and now on Newegg.com, $729.99 if you want to buy one. I don't think that's really inflated. My buddy bought these for around 500 Canadian-ish, like 480 Canadian, so like 380 American. So you can, if you search around and you have the right contacts, get one of these for a little bit better than $729. But $1393 boost clock. I got it overclocked to about 1460. The memory is a little bit, you know, kind of that's the sweet spot for this. It's got fast memory, and it'll go all the way up to 2,225 effective. You can max it out in MSI Afterburner, so that's pretty cool. But let's go ahead and in case you happened upon an RX 580 for a good price, see what kind of experience you could have in today's modern titles. And then when we come back, I will sum a few things up, and I'm going to package this puppy back up and give her back to my friend so he can cryptocurrency mine and contribute to the problem. And I'm probably going to give up on that. I quit that mining game. So cue the benchmarks and we'll talk all about it. Whoosh! Alright, I used to have the RX 480 reference, and this, I don't think that would go over 1400 megahertz. It's nice that these 580s will go like 1460 overclock. I was having some trouble with Firestrike getting it to run. I don't know if that was just a problem with it. I'm having such a hard... It's not I like when cards stand up on their own, and this one's just not doing it today. But yeah, I'm going to hold it. But yeah, I was having a hard time. I could run Firestrike, and well, it wasn't overclocked. But if I overclocked it like 1%, Firestrike wouldn't run all the way through. But it would run all the games, and I did a lot of benchmarking, like a minimum like a half hour, 45 minutes in each game, and I never had it crash at 1460. And the memory slider like pretty much maxed out. I think I had it at 2200 megahertz. So yeah, fairly decent showing. This is a fairly decent, I'd say, like if you want to play with settings, you could use this for 1440p, especially if you have a FreeSync monitor like I do. I have a 4K FreeSync monitor. It's only a 60 hertz monitor, so the FreeSync helps out with this. You know, in the 1440p benchmarks, and I don't have gameplay footage of that because I don't have a capture card that will record that properly, but you know, I did them anyways, and you know, if you play with some settings, you can get 1440p out of this pretty decently. But 1080p really is this guy's like wheelhouse, and you can pretty much max out any game except for like adding a lot of MSAA and you know, all that kind of effect to games like Deus Ex Mankind Divided. And you know, it just doesn't like the, you know, even though it's got lots of VRAM, even in like Crisis, you know, going full max out, because the even at 1080p, the 1% and 0.1% lows are pretty terrible with this card. You can tell that like it's got a bottleneck somewhere in the card, that, you know, it can do high frame rates, but maintaining them is kind of an issue. But you know, I really hope that we move on to something, you know, better than just GPU mining with these things, or a next generation comes out and is available. It kind of makes these things, you know, who cares about them, because a better gaming card came out. Because $729 for a 1080p card in 2018 is pretty freaking sad. And I just don't know how we're going to continue gaming. Like, people are going to start buying consoles if one of the two graphics card companies don't figure this out. Because I see it more often than not in my comments where people are just like, well, I guess I'm buying an Xbox. But I guess AMD doesn't care about that, because they're the ones making the damn, you know, system on a chip for the Xbox and the PS4. So, you know, I hope Nvidia comes up with a response. They have the ball's in their court. I've said it 100 times. They could make or break this whole mining GPU scenario, and it's really unfortunate that you know, we have to like consider buying consoles at this point, and that, you know, everyone's really excited for an APU release from AMD with a Vega graphics on board, because graphics card prices are so stupid right now that it might make sense to use that APU and just kind of wait out and see what happens to cryptocurrency. That's a really sad state of affairs. I'm at Watch Timmy Joe on Instagram and Twitter. See, Instagram is like if you want to see me in my real life and my kids and stuff, but I post on Twitter a lot, so go check me out at Watch Timmy Joe on Twitter. I have a Patreon. It's really quite in its infancy, and I'm trying to work on getting some like incentive to go subscribe to me on Patreon, but I'm asking for $2 or $5 maximum. You know, it would be nice if you head over there, or if you have any cool older hardware, or, you know, I'm looking specifically for some like rare cool stuff. I'd even love to see like a Commodore 64, or some like I really always wanted a 486 computer. That would be really cool. If you have something like that and you'd like to donate to the channel, me at timmyjoe.com, give me an email. But I'm sorry I pissed all y'all off with the mining thing. I don't really see the benefit in it, and I think I'm going to do a whole separate video on why I'm going to choose not to mine after, you know, I'm going to give it do a little bit more research before that video, but I think I'm kind of erring on that way, and I hope that, you know, eventually, like the 7970 before it, these will flood the market, and, you know, they'll be pretty good cards to pick up on the cheap at some point for, you know, some pretty decent 1080p gaming. So I'll see you guys in another video. Thanks very much for sticking around, and as always, like, just huge support out there, huge love, and I can't even handle, we're almost at 30,000 subscribers. Like, it'll happen in the next couple days, and it's just, it's an awesome feeling to have you guys watch me blather about computers on the internet. I got a little bit of dust and red fluid from that. Anyways, see you guys in another video. Thanks much.